Um, Hi, everybody. This is not going to be a formal session where I present some slides. So this will be more of talking about my experience. It is basically a transfer of why I chose what I chose to do, and what were the challenges, and what created that passion in me to actually take up and do what I did. So basically, I'm Pavan. I studied my bachelor's in electronics and communication back in Bangalore. The reason I took up electronics and communication as a bachelor's degree was I was very passionate about seeing things of everyday life and understanding them clearly. So electronics was one field where you can understand technology quite a lot from end to end. That by the end of your engineering, you will have if you take any electronics, you will be able to at least assess, if not know everything completely, but you will understand what is going on inside. So that was one of my goals when I joined electronics and communication bachelor's in it about. So in electronics, you will see a wide variety of subjects, all the way from silicon level, like electron level VLSI, to all the way to microcontroller, to more and more abstraction. So basically, it is nothing but, at the end of the day, when you're using a computer, it is all an abstraction. You start off from transistor, which is an electron 1 1 0 digital switch, and then that becomes an abstraction. It becomes a bigger IC, and then ICs are put together to form a system. That is another level of abstraction. Systems are put together to form maybe a chipset or a motherboard. That is one level of abstraction. To control that, there is software written. Softwares basically translate like your compilers and interpreters. That is another level of abstraction. So everything is an abstraction. So you can choose to be on which layer of abstraction you like. um, Whatever you're passionate about, you should be able to pursue in this day and age. And with that in my mind, what got my interest during my engineering bachelor's in engineering was image processing and signal processing. So one of the things that really intrigued me, or which kept me going, and understanding more and putting more time, was things that was really hard to understand. So signal processing was one such subject which is really, really hard to understand, because you cannot actually see them, and it is heavy mathematical. So what is more challenging is actually the one that actually gives you a lot of joy when you actually crack it and try to understand. So that was one of the reasons I went into signal processing, image processing, computer vision, and I did my master's here in US, in University of Southern California, and in multimedia and signal processing. And eventually, it was a very different experience compared to how we study in India. Um, I always thought that I never had enough time in India, because there was so much to do, but then I never had time. When I went to pursue my masters, I realized that actually I had a lot of time in India, and not having time was when I was doing my masters, because it's super tight. The schedules are very intense, but the knowledge is very practical. So what I would recommend is, if you guys are planning for further studies, um, in especially abroad, I would recommend you be a little more practical in terms of understanding concepts. If it's not part of your curriculum, that should not limit you. You should be able to go to your lab, figure out, run experiments, and learn things practically. Whatever theory, or if you are passionate about a subject, say microcontroller, so go deep into it. Try to understand how a microcontroller works. How do you write programs? Anything that you learn in each of the chapters, just go there, implement it, and try to do much beyond it. That is, every small thing. If you learn about a timer, go 3 steps ahead and build like a timer with a counter, circuit, or a application of a timer trigger based alarm system or something like that. So go beyond the syllabus, and try to implement, and learn more. So that is basically what will be taught in masters, in US and Germany or anywhere across the world. So they try to give you education on how you can actually use the theory that you studied into practical, everyday life. So the more and more you do that, the more you will be prepared for the companies as well. So that was one of my stepping stones to actually work at Apple, because I had so much in-depth working level knowledge that you could actually be put into a project directly. That is, you don't need any training, because you understand the system and you have hands-on experience. So usually what happens is, you study a lot of theory, and then you join a company, and the company people know that you don't have much hands-on experience. So they try to train you on giving you this hands-on courses, like six months training, where they actually train you how to be hands-on. So based on how you perform in that situation, you will be put on the project. That's typically how companies work back in India. So if you are like 2 steps 3 steps ahead, it will give you a huge leap in terms of the projects. So it is all, basically all your experience will be like compound interest. So a slight difference in when you start off in a project, that can take you long way in your career. It all depends on today what you can do. Small differences, right? Small differences will make a huge change in your life later on. And then working at Apple, what is different to me is the attention to detail. Basically, if you look at any company, it is based on how well they understand their customers. So that very intense attention to detail is something that drew me to the company as well, because I have always been very detail oriented and trying to ask questions, try to understand everything in detail. So it was kind of like a very good fit for me, because that is the culture here within Apple. um, so that is where I am today. So what I'll do is, probably I'll open up the forum to you guys to ask me any specific questions. It could be about how to stay motivated, or what kind of courses to choose, or where you can find good opportunities, or you know uh, why you should do masters, or any question regarding this.
The importance of your MS specialization, especially the topic. I think signal processing was your specialization, right?
Right, ma'am. I did my specialization in multimedia and image processing and computer vision. So basically, what my specialization is, I work on. So it is signal processing is, there are multiple dimensions to signal processing. One is single dimensional signal processing, which is like your audio signal. So you have time dependency, and then you have a signal. That is single dimensional signal processing. And then image is a 2 dimension, which means that you have a signal, but it is in a 2D array, which is your camera sensor. So camera sensor picks up each of the signal data, and then converts it into a electronic map in the backend. And then there are buffers that read the whole sensor. And then at the end of it, you get a image, which is, it starts from some voltage readings, and then it's converted. There is digitization, then there is quantization, and then end of the day, you get a image which is 0 to 255, if it's an 8-bit sensor. So what I do is, I work on that extraction of the image itself, in terms of hardware, that is the camera sensor, and the lens system required, and the frame rate to capture an image in a camera, etc. And image processing is, once you get that data out, how can you manipulate it so that it can be very well seen by a user, like all the filters that you guys use on Instagram, or WhatsApp. It's all image processing. So it was not image processing is a very old field, but it is very processor intensive. What that means is, you need a very powerful processor to actually be able to process the data at real time. So with the advent of like 7 nanometer, 5 nanometer chipset technology, image processing has become very easy and quick for people to actually perform in this day and age. That's why a field which was like 40, 50 years old is actually seeing a lot of applications in today's day and age with advent of GPUs, CPU, faster CPUs, and things like that. So that is basically what I work on in what I did in my specialization and what I do here in Apple.